want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you. So my apologies if you were here for annual meeting and you heard my rector's address, because my sermon is going to be very, very similar, hopefully without me cussing. Sorry about that. Tell the people I offended when I said what I said. Sometimes I feel a lot of feelings. So yeah. Anyway, so our gospel today. It's a super powerful gospel, and it's Jesus stepping into his role for the first time. And here's the thing. Jesus is not what they expected. So the Israelites have this idea of when the Messiah comes, it's going to be a great warrior. He'll probably be really tall and have great abs. And he's going to ride a big horse, and he's going to take out those Romans. And then Jesus shows up. And Jesus is kind of this scrawny little squirrely dude. And they're like, well, that's not what we planned on. And then he's like, well, y'all are going to have to do stuff. And they're like, well, that's not what we planned on. Because here's the thing. We all want God in our lives. And we all want God to smite those people and to do those things for us. But we really want it to be done by someone else. We really don't want to have to do this whole thing for ourselves. And so then Jesus shows up and he's like, so yeah, when we talk about the kingdom, we're talking about this. And when we're talking about this, y'all are going to have to do these things. And they're like, wait, no, crucify him. Let's try again. Can we get another Messiah maybe? I don't know, taller, more abs? Just an idea. Maybe one who will do all the things for us. So we can sit back here and be like, you go, Messiah. You do those Messiah things. But that's not what Jesus says, is it? Jesus comes and he's like, so we're all going to need to do the things, and we're all going to have to do some changing, and we're all going to be uncomfortable with some of those changes. And when I mean all, I mean literally all. And they're like, wait, all? He's like, yeah, all. And you're like, but wait, you don't mean those all, do you? I mean, you just mean us all? And it's like, no, all. And they're like, no, wait, what about, and he's like, let me say it again. All. And they're like, but really? I mean, all? I mean, have you ever had this moment when you're like, okay, so, I get that I'm supposed to love everybody, but, surely God doesn't mean, everybody. And God's like, no, everybody. Are you sure? What about them? Those everybody? Yes, everybody. All of them. And, not just all the humans, but, all creation. And we're like, wait. What? You want me to recycle? What if it's inconvenient? So we have this sense, right? And Jesus is not what they expected. And Christ and God are not what we expect either. Because it's not something that we get to show up for 1 hour a week, maybe if we have time, feel really good about it, and then go on about our lives and go kick all those other jerks to the curb. Because, hello, have you met some of the people in the world? I mean, for reals. Humans are gross. And they're kind of mean. And nobody wants to be around humans. Now dogs, on the other hand, all dogs are great. And cats are self-cleaning. So, hello. But no, that's not how it works. And would you believe that we are not the only humans who ever struggled with this whole Christian message? Crazy. It's all of Christianity for all time. And that's how we end up with Paul. Because Paul has a ministry that everybody wants. So Paul does this. He has a feel-good ministry, right? He goes to a community, he gets them all fired up, and then we play in a church, and he's like, see you later. Okay. Now, any church for the first 5 minutes is awesome. All of them are awesome. However, when you put a lot of humans together for an extended amount of time, they're not awesome. They're not. And so what Paul ends up, in most of our readings from Paul are really this. They're letters, right? Because Paul ups and leaves. And so the faithful assembled are here all stuck with each other and all their human nastiness. And they eventually become more human because eventually all that fire and joy and all that good fun stuff that made you feel really good and want to plant the church in the first place dies out. And then you're stuck with all these humans together. And so they start doing what humans do. We start bickering about things. And then they're like, oh, what do we do now? So we write a letter to Paul. And we're like, Paul, this is not going the way you said it would. Okay, so that's what we get. That's what this letter from Corinthians is. They've contacted Paul. And these Corinthians, I don't know how much you know about Corinth, but it's like Vegas. Corinth is crazy, 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 crazy. So it is like literally all the human masses together. Have you ever had all the human masses together? It's a hot mess. Okay, so it's not working. And Paul's like, okay, guys, when we're doing this, it's not going to be what you expected it to be. Christ is not who you expect Christ to be. You are supposed to be Christ in the world. And they're like, wait, what? Like, what happened to that, like, feel-good stuff that we were doing, all the hallelujahs and amens and the sweet potluck afterwards? And he's like, well, no. But here's the thing. All humans are different. And that's a good thing. Because we need to be different to get all the jobs done. Let me tell you, when you're running a church, you want some retired people because retired people have the time, they do a lot of stuff, but you really want some young kids too, because when they make noise in church, it's like the most joyful thing ever. And you remember that you are not here just like having some sort of meeting about whatever, but it's God, and God is exciting and joyful and wonderful, and that's amazing. But have you ever had 2-year-olds try and put together a church? You don't want that. We did not hire a 2-year-old to do our gutters. Not go admire the gutters. Because I run a church, and it's the little things like gutters that prevent leaks. We have new gutters. But I didn't put our Godly Play Sunday school group in charge of the gutters. Trust me. But we need all of it together. And the thing with churches is, and this is just how humans are, we tend to want to be around who we're like, right? People who think like us, people who look like us, people who live like us. And yet, what is Paul saying? Do we really want a church of ears? I mean, you'd all like actually listen to my sermons, but then you wouldn't go out with feet and do anything with them, so that would be pointless. But do I want a church of feet? No, because they're just going to be feet wandering around. And yet we have this urge like, well, but we won't get along if we're all different. We'll like disagree on things. And we're like, oh no, not disagree. I could be uncomfortable sometimes. Oh no, not uncomfortable sometimes. God calls us to be different. God calls us to be uncomfortable. Sometimes we feel angry, and that's okay. And sometimes we feel joy. And you want to know what? That's great too. And sometimes we feel sad, but we don't want to feel sad, so we feel mad instead. Because you can do stuff when you feel mad, but, sad, like, that's not cool. We have all these things together. And you want to know what? Sometimes that's going to be good fireworks, and sometimes that's going to be bad fireworks. But the fireworks are pretty cool no matter what. And the fireworks are what creates something new and different. And that, my friends, is Christ. Christ is the fireworks. Christ is sometimes the fun fireworks, and sometimes Christ is when your parents hand you a sparkler and like, oh, this is a good idea, and you're like 3 and you burn your fingers. You're like, well, that was dumb. Who gives a sparkler to a 3-year-old? Come on, people. I mean, it's America. Go America. Let's give kids flaming things. But that's a whole different sermon for a whole different time. But it is fireworks. It is fireworks, and it is beautiful and wonderful, and sometimes it hurts. And that, my friends, is Christ. God and Christ are not these things out there who go take care of that world for us, and we sit back and we're like, oh yeah, you go. You go save that world. But it's us. It's not what we expected. It is us. We are the hands and feet of Christ in this world, in this time and place. And sometimes that's hard because the hands want to do one thing and the feet want to do another. And if you have MS, you know what that's like. Like every body part going in some different way, and it all ends up with you on the floor. But so sometimes it's going to be hard, and sometimes it's going to be awkward, and sometimes it's going to be difficult. But that is where the glory lies. The glory lies in one of those little kids getting loose and running around and you laughing. Because that's God. And sometimes God is an argument on the vestry about, like, are you sure that we're going to put gutters up? I mean, and we got to bicker about it. And that's okay. And sometimes church is, are you sure about that banner? And we're like, yeah, we kind of like that banner. Are you sure about the banner? Yeah, we like the banner. That is church. And you want to know what? That is God. And I didn't even cuss. Ah! That deserves an applause, y'all. That's a big deal. All right, let's stand together and say the words of the Nicene Creed.